Good morning, everybody. It's Tanya Williams here, author of A Childfree Happily Ever After and founder of the Childfree Choices program here in Australia. I am super thrilled this morning to be talking to an amazing woman, a groundbreaker in this space, Marcia Drut Davis. Now, Marsha was named Childfree Woman of the Year last year on International Childfree Day, which is just absolutely amazing in itself. She wrote a book, Confessions of a Childless Woman, which I read over Christmas. I absolutely loved the messaging in there. She's been interviewed on 60 Minutes and she lost her job because of that. And we're going to talk about that. But she's really been a groundbreaker in talking about our choice to be child-free and what that looks like and everything else. So great conversation today. Hello, Marsha. I'm so thrilled to be talking to you.
Oh, Tanya, me too. It's amazing. Here I am in the USA, and there you are in Australia, and here we are trying to help people. So, but one thing, I was not named the International Childfree Woman of the Year.
Oh, person of the year? Okay.
No, I received a Lifetime Achievement Award by that international committee. I mean, it means that I'm old. That's what it means.
Well, that's still an absolutely amazing accolade to get. So.
It is, and I feel at least 5'4" about that. Now, that's funny because I'm shrinking as we speak.
So let's start. Can you give everyone a bit of a quick overview of your life? So, how old you are? We know they're in the US. Obviously you're child-free, but just tell us a little bit about your life, I suppose, and where you're at now.
Well, where I'm at now, I think, is one of the most beautiful parts of my life. And in a way, it's sad because this is the last part of my life. So I wish on so many levels it was earlier, but then again, here I am, and, this is where we are, and this is where I intend to stay for as long as I can. But it's been a journey. It's been a very long journey. And it started when I read one book. And that's why I think anybody who writes and can affect a change in one person's life is doing something so important. The one book that I still have and treasure, The Baby Trap.
Baby Trap. Wow. When was that written?
1971.
Wow. That would have been very controversial in its time, I'm sure.
Controversial? It was beyond the moon. Nobody had ever seen or heard anything like this. And the author, it's a little old, her name is Ellen Peck, and sadly we lost her in her 50s to cancer. She and I became friends after I read this book because I devoured it. And in the end, it said, if you want to meet other people, come to New York City. We have an organization called the National Organization for Non-Parents. And I went, whoa, I'm a non-parent. Wow. Wait a minute, I don't want to be a non-anything. And eventually it was changed to the National Alliance for Optional Parenting because they were trying to overcome so much. So it started then, and that was given to me by my dad, who, he kind of got a feeling. I was in my 30s and just remarried and never spoke about children. And it was a gift. It was the gift of my life, and that catapulted me into this thing, this movement, because it was there.
This book, obviously, it's had a big impact on you, and you're in your 30s. For you, did you always know that you didn't want to have children? Was that always just an innate thing, or had you come to that decision throughout your life for whatever reason?
It was not an always. It was, maybe in the future, but wait a minute. My mother said having a baby was like putting a bowling ball through your private parts. Did I really want that? And then I saw my beloved cousin, have her first baby, and I stayed with her, and I went, oh my God. This is not easy. I was exhausted by the time I got home. And I began thinking, maybe, just maybe, this isn't for me. But in those days, you never thought about that. So I made the excuse. I'm not married yet. Yeah. That wasn't easy. But then I was married. And then it became, okay, now what? So it was a gradual gradual thing. But I divorced that first husband, remarried, and he and I never discussed anything. In fact, he
Really?
wrote never, not a word. It was almost like we both never wanted to go there because both of us never wanted to have children, although we
So you were
wouldn't.
on the same page, but you didn't actually know you were on the same page.
No, it was ridiculous when I think about it. It was just ridiculous. And he even wrote a song picturing me on the back porch with a babe in my arms. And I was like, oh. And then I thought, oh, no. Oh, no. When I read this book, I handed it to him.
Yeah.
I think he read it in a day. And he came back to me and he said, I guess we're non-parents. And that was such a relief. But then he went on to fall in love with my girlfriend and divorced me and married her.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
It's okay. It ends okay. I have a good one now.
Okay. Oh, like, yeah. I mean, I feel like you've done so much in this space to really blaze the trail for people like me who I suppose I always thought, oh, is there something wrong with me? Because no one really spoke about, being child free. I remember my girlfriends all, I want to get married and have kids and all this, and I was just like, oh no, I don't necessarily want that. That doesn't feel right for me. But I always thought I was very alone in the world. I'm like, well, I'm the only one that wants this. And then I started to discover over the years other women who are like, oh no, we're not having kids, we don't want kids. It's like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. So I think a lot of women, you can feel very singular and you can feel very alone, thinking, well, is this just me?
And
these types of conversations are important, right?
Well, yeah. And that's why if you look at Facebook and you look at the amount of support sites, I mean, seriously, I have of my own, I have 6, child-free, Confessions of a Child-Free Woman, Confessions of Child-Free People, child-free people looking for jobs, child-free people looking for friendships. I forget what the other one is.
Wow.
There's another one somewhere. But in this day and age, it is sad that this kind of a lifestyle choice affecting nobody but really us. That's
exactly.
Affects so many. And it's still looked upon with such, what? But look at everything around you. I don't know if you've ever read my other book that I also recommend, this one, The Baby Matrix by Laura Carroll.
I'll definitely have to have a look at that one as well.
Oh my God. Read this book.
Okay.
Because it will blow you away about something called pronatalism and why we think it's our biological destinies to have children.
Well, we're trained from the moment we're babies to want to have children. It's in everything. It's in our toys. It's in the fairy tales we've read. It's in the fact that we get dolls given to us as babies ourselves. Like, we're literally trained from the first moment to, oh, you're going to want this. You're going to be mum one day. So I think when you get to that point, you go, hang on, everything that I've always been told I don't agree with. It's shocking for some people that they think, well, hang on a minute, no, this is what you're supposed to do. And
it's shocking, and especially to potential grandparents, because we forget that the icing on the cake of parenting is how many grandchildren do you have? It still happens. Now, there's been a shift. I've heard people say, I have grand dogs. Yeah. You can see studies in America. I don't know about Australia. My grandbaby is a grand dog. Oh, no, my grandbaby has 4 paws. Yeah. Things like that. But nationally, internationally, it's still so amazing when people say, I don't think I want to have children. And in some countries, men can leave their wives if they don't give them a child. And if they don't give them a son.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can imagine what countries they probably are as well. So the countries that are quite backward in anything to do with females having a voice. Now, in 1974, you were interviewed on 60 Minutes. And as a result of that, you lost your job. I can't even fathom how that happens now.
But can I?
Talk me through that. Like, what happened with that whole situation? Like, that to me is just unbelievable.
Well, first of all, remember I said Ellen Peck, I was at the first convention working with her, and Marion Golden, the producer of that show, was there filming. Yeah. She heard my husband, who's now an ex-husband, and I were finally going to tell his parents we don't want to have children. It was the typical Jewish mother and father saying, "Go home and practice. What's wrong?" Patting my belly. And we said, "That's it. We're done." And so she heard that we were going to say something and said, "Can we go with you?" Shoot me now. I said, "Sure. Come on. Come to my mother-in-law's home." And we were interviewed for over 2 hours of sheer hell. Sheer hell. At the beginning, I signed off saying that, I guess, something to the effect that whatever I said, I say, and I can't take it back, blah, blah, blah. Who read it? It was just like, finally, I'm going to say it. The editing was so frightening, and it was my first understanding of pronatalism and how frightening that can be. Mm-hmm. Because it was all skewed. It wasn't just me. There were 2 other couples interviewed. A younger couple who were, I believe, in the military, and an older couple who I'm sure have passed on by now. And if you were to see what they picked on that show, I mean, I have it and I show it whenever I can, you'd be shocked. The young couple, they seem to be flibbity-gibbet, stupid.
So they've stacked it, basically. So they've set it all up to, yeah.
And one of the things she said, Mike Wallace said to her, "Now, you look like responsible, mature young people. Surely you're going to change her mind when you get more mature." And she said, "Oh, I never intend of growing up." And it was cut. But then I know this girl, and I know she continued to say, "I'm going to stay in my heart youthful and happy and embrace this lifestyle and love my life." But that was edited. And I was edited. I was edited to look like the bitch. My husband just sat there. If you can imagine me marrying anybody who just sits there. Yeah. And all he did was look from, right to left. And he had this deer in the headlight expression. He said nothing. Nothing when I was the heavy. And the last comment of Mike Wallace, who I never met, was, "Pardon our perversion for airing this on Mother's Day. Good night, everyone."
What?
So there was taped. I have it. I was a perverse woman, a teacher. So of course, why would they want me to teach since I was perverse? Lost my job.
So literally, they've watched that. They've called you into the office the next day or during that week and went, "You're gone."
I had just moved back to Long Island from Michigan. And I was subbing to get known. I was the next to be hired. I was the most wanted substitute teacher because I was good. And I had letters from parents saying, "Get her. This is a terrific teacher."
Yeah.
The day after that 60 Minutes, I wasn't called. It was the first time I had not been called, I don't know how many months, as a regular substitute teacher. And I called the superintendent of schools, and he said to me, "You're not teaching here is a non-concern of mine." And he hung up on me, N-O-N, National Organization for Non-Parents. And I just sat back and I said to my then husband, "Oh my God, do you think this has caused the end of my career?" And he sat there saying, "Oh my God, I hope not, because we need the money." Yeah. So I became a speaker in high schools, and I had to pass picketing people with signs saying, "Godless bitch. Not in this school. Don't you talk to my child."
Oh my God.
I don't know what. Wait, and then the death threats. I had death threats to me and my then dog. My husband had no problem. No problem. It was
because he wasn't seen in a bad light. Obviously, they were just looking at you going, "You're the one that wants this. You're the one that's created this." That is unfathomable. That is just crazy that stuff can happen. Like, people are so passionate about that. And again, as you said, about something that has absolutely nothing to do with their life whatsoever. It doesn't stop you being a great teacher. It's crazy.
It was the loss of me as their teacher for almost 15 years until I remarried and had a new name. I then went on to be nominated in Walt Disney's National Teacher of the Year. I didn't get it. I lost it. But I was nominated by 600 of my peers because that's how good a teacher I was.
Wow.
So 15 years, these kids didn't have me. I went on to have my own advertising agency.
That's just, it's amazing that just simply you having a voice and sharing your opinion and talking about your choice, that it led to something like that. And obviously the fact that they've edited it so badly is absolutely disgraceful to start with, and really bad journalism. But so was it after the 60 Minutes interview that you wrote the book, or before?
I didn't write the book for a long time.
Yeah.
I was too fearful. I mean,
what the reaction would be.
I was terrified of doing anything more. In fact, I was very quiet for years. No, it was just what made me write that book. I think it was a moment of insanity when I think about it. Anybody who's ever, it took me 3 years to get that book written. And then because of who was I? You know, I didn't have a doctorate next to my name. It was very difficult, to have this book in your hands or in other people's hands. This next one is more opportunity because I had proven myself as a writer.
Yeah.
But no, it took me, I think it was maybe because I was ending my career as a teacher because I was old, I was retired. I said, what do I do now? And I thought, maybe, just maybe I should go ahead with this movement and say something about it. And I'm glad I did.
I'm so glad you did as well, because you've just been, such a powerful voice around this. Now I want to talk about words in particular, because I know one of the reasons I wrote my book was to change the dialogue in society around this conversation, because as we know, so much of it is around judgment and criticism, where it should really be around acceptance and support of other women's choices. So for me, it's all about the C word, choice. So whatever is...
Also men. Don't forget men.
Yes. Well, exactly.
Not just women. We've got to add men. Yeah,
men and women. And I've written a chapter in there about men and their choices, and they're very much part of this conversation. But I think the dialogue and the words that we use are so very important. And one of your blogs, you've used some words in regards to how child-free women are portrayed, and you've got selfish, hedonistic, or doomed to regret their narcissistic choice. And I read that and went, oh my God, wow. Like those words are such powerful words. Why do you think words matter so much in this conversation and the way that we speak to other people about their choice?
Right. Well, those particular words, selfish, hedonistic, narcissistic, are words that are demeaning. They don't build you up. They put you down. They put you into a feeling of rejection. For what? And nobody sees beyond the fact that you do have children. What are you doing here now? What are you doing with your life? Even if it's nothing really phenomenal, even if it's just loving yourself enough to enjoy this moment that you have on this planet. But it's meaning, it's making you feel as if you have to defend and come back, and prove yourself. Whereas a mother or a father, by the very word mother and father, they're revered, even though some of them may be abusive. Some of them may be, perfectly awful, or hand them over to a nanny. They're revered. Yeah. But those words hurt. The old, I don't know about in Australia, it's sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but names can never harm me. Names can harm us.
Yeah, it's really hurtful.
It's horrible. It's just well, that's the other pronatalistic part of it. That's what's assumed. Yeah. Assume that people are, and they look. I'm sure there are narcissistic child-free people. I'm sure there are narcissistic parents. But
totally. Yeah. It's the same as when people talk about being selfish. It's like, well, I don't understand how being child-free is selfish, but being a parent isn't, because a lot of the time it's probably even more so because you want a child or someone wants a grandchild, and it's all very much about you. And I just think the whole selfish conversation just negates itself on either side. I'm like, it's all just it's just people living their life for what they for what's best for them.
Ask most parents, why did they want or choose children? They'll say, because I want or I wanted.
Yes.
Hello. Doesn't that come into selfish?
Yeah.
Their wants, their needs. Very few will say, give to another human and make them develop into something special. And I need, and often babies.
Yeah.
Nobody says I want a teenager.
Yeah, I want a baby. Yeah, yeah. That's good. So what are some of the lessons that you've learnt along the way in dealing with this criticism and the judgment? Like when people make comments to you or have over the years, how have you reacted to that? How have you dealt with that?
Very simple. I know this is going to sound silly. Maybe it's my age, and maybe it's because I've lived this lifestyle, up to the age of 76. It's just loving where you are, keeping your eyes opened to the so-called joys. I think one of the biggest birth control, best choices anybody can do is go to any kind of, I don't know what you have, if you have Walmart or Mickey D's or one of the places observe.
Yeah.
Spend time with children. And I don't mean babysitting a niece or a nephew or taking care of a neighbor for an hour. Time. And see what that lifestyle is like. It's not that moon, June, sunbeams, rainbows, butterflies. It's hard work.
Yeah.
Are there moments? Yeah, there are moments. Of course there are moments. And by the way, I did write about that. There were moments where I said, And if I look back to the it was always that picture perfect moment. Watching one of my friends breastfeeding a child. And I went, oh. But then I would say, wait a minute, what happened before this picture? What's happening after the picture? And somebody took me to task on that and said that's, that I really had wanted to have children. And they never continued in that chapter to see what I was saying. It's those Kodak perfect moments. As parents may feel when we're on a cruise, relaxing and not worrying about children.
Yeah.
It's all about choices and how you embrace your lifestyle here and now. But I always want people to have some kind of a reason of being, some kind of a passion in your life.
Yeah, and I think what you said is exactly right. If it doesn't look like this perfect picture on either side of the coin. Like people think that, I've got no responsibilities, my life's perfect because I don't have kids, I don't have any worries. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm still a human. I still have stress and worries and issues and stuff, just like a mother has stress and worries and issues. Like, I think a big thing here, I know through some of the conversations that I've had in different Facebook groups, for example, it is very taboo to say that you regret your choice to be a mum, because everyone wants to jump on that and go, you're a bad person, you're a horrible mother. And it's just like, you know what? It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them love their children any less. They're just saying exactly what you were saying. This shit's hard. Look, this is not that fairy tale picture that everyone wants it painted out to be. And I just wish that we would see more of that dialogue where there is this open conversation.
I think it's starting, Tanya. I think you're getting more and more honesty from very brave men and women who are coming out and saying their truths, which is needed. Here's an interesting thing. I have a young woman in my life who I adore. She was a student of mine years ago. I taught her English, and she's now in our life forever. In fact, my husband walked her down the aisle at her wedding because she was she was shunned by her parents because she married into another religion. So we stepped in and we helped her. She's now a new mama. And by the way, I'm now a marma. A marma is a Marsha grandma. The easiest thing I've ever done. And Jim is the pappy. Okay? And I find myself showing pictures and I'm saying, wait a minute. Confessions of a Child-Free Woman, pioneer in the child-free lifestyle. And it's fun for me. Yeah. But she and I have connected with honesty. And she has said to me, oh my God, the pregnancy was hell. Oh my God, why didn't anybody tell me how awful that birth was? Oh my God, I am here 24 hours a day with my darling son who looks to me and my husband for everything. I feel imprisoned. I love him to death, but whoa, this is not easy. This is not easy, waking up all night and hearing primal screams and changing poopy diapers. And why didn't I hear this from other people?
Yeah. And exactly, I think those conversations need to be prominent, and women and I think most of the judgment I see comes from other women. It's women judging women about everything that they're doing, and it needs to stop, and women start, and I don't see the judgment from men a lot of the time. And I know I was talking to my husband about this and said, well, what, do you get questioned? And he goes, no. He goes, for men it's different. He said, I was probably asked when I first started where I worked, do you have kids? And he's like, no, we don't want kids. And a discussion, that's all that's said about it. He said, we don't talk about that. He said, but you women, he goes, you are all like, want to have an opinion. And I'm like, I wish it wasn't like that. But he said, it's so different for men than it is for women. And even now when you talk about I saw on a group yesterday that someone was saying something about, oh, it's not just a woman's choice. And then someone was jumping that going, well, it is really a woman's choice. And it's like, whoa, the conversation just got like so aggressive. And it's like, wow, like this is a conversation that should be had between men and women before they get married. It should be a conversation that is happening, for men as well, just as much as women. But it's really surprising how many women think, no, it's actually just all about us. And I don't really care what my husband or partner wants. And that's, to me, I just find just crazy.
It's crazy. That's crazy. I go a step even further. I say it should be a discussion early in education, not with the nonsense that I used to teach at a middle school, and they used to have this program where they taught the responsibilities of parenting. And my students had little eggs, hard-boiled eggs, and the girls would put little bows and bonnets and put them in the basket, and the guys would just throw them in the basket. And they'd run around the school with their eggs, and if it fell out, it was egg abuse. And if they had to sign off for babysitting their egg. I had one student who placed the egg in his locker and forgot about it, and the school had fumigated. It was during a holiday. I can't make this up. And after it was fumigated and they found out what it was, I said to him, "Now, Judd, how do you feel about this? I mean, you left your egg in the locker." And he said, "Oh, Mrs. Davis, it doesn't matter. It's the woman's job anyhow." Apparently, this course wasn't great.
Yeah,
okay?
it doesn't sound so great.
I said, why don't you have a program baby that cries, that they have to pick up when it cries? Oh, that costs too much money. So realistic explanation of what it is to parent, what it is not to parent, is not done. It's not done. There's no courses. There's no exams. No.
And that's exactly right. I mean, and that's why I'm creating a program around this now, because I think people invest time in personal development and courses and all this sort of stuff for their career, but they don't actually take time and energy to look at a decision like this. It's going to, be something that's going to impact them their whole entire life. And I think, I think people need to be probably a bit more considered with some of that as well. But do you see a lot of regret from women who are child-free in your generation, or even, women who are a bit younger as well? Do you see this? Because everyone talks about regret. But have you seen a lot of that through the conversations that you're having?
I'm sorry, there was a phone ringing.
I know, it's all good. That's life. We don't worry about when life interrupts.
I said to my husband, pick up the phone if it rings. Maybe he's in the bathroom. Okay, I still love
It's all right. It's just a phone.
I'll keep them. Something about regret for my age.
Have you seen a lot of regret, for women in your generation or even younger? Because we see this conversation come up constantly about you regret it. Like, what has been your experience around that in the women that you know?
Well, I love that question. That's one of my favorite questions. Now, as I look at my friends who are now grandparents, many of them have said to me, I think if I did it all over again, I would have been with you. This has not been easy. And their grandchildren have given them such grief to so many different reasons. Some of them are facing drug addiction. That's big here. Yeah. Some of them have had issues with well, all sorts of horrible issues. So yeah, some of them have said, I think if I had it to do all over again, I would not have had children. But as far as living the child-free lifestyle, I have not heard one person say to me, boy, I wish I had children. I really miss it. And I think those women that I know personally are, again, so evolved and involved in their life. They don't see children as the ones to take care of them as they get older. That's one of my favorite, I mean.
That's a ridiculous reason to have children, because just because you had kids doesn't mean they're going to do that anyway.
Exactly. Or they don't necessarily. They could be a beautiful young lady like you who had the nerve to move to Australia, leaving me as your mama here.
Well, my mother lives 1,000 kilometres away, so I'm nowhere near her. So, it's exactly like, just because you've got children doesn't mean they're going to look after you when you're old and grey.
I in my next book, one of the things I talked about was I did face cancer and won. During the time that I faced cancer, what came up for me as I sat there with a lot of the people being taken care of by children, there were children there. Yeah. There were also friends and neighbors and nurses and doctors, but I focused in on the children. Oh, look at that. The son is there. Oh my God, the daughter is there. But the real lesson for me is, did it matter? I had a loving man next to me. Even if I didn't have him, the nurses, the doctors, I still go there and kiss them and hug them, because their relationship to me was everything. And was there any guarantee that I could have a child? That child could have died before me, because at the time I think I'm facing death here. And then I kept thinking of that branch, that branch on the family tree that was going to break off into oblivion forever. And I thought to myself, what difference does it make? Yeah. Because I'm still here, I'm still alive. And once I fought it and won, it even made me more determined to continue this.
I think, as you said, there's other things that we get that fulfill us. It doesn't, kids can certainly be one thing for people that want it, but I know my life, I'm very fulfilled and happy, and I would not change a thing. And I think that's the thing as well. It's like, well, you don't need to have a child to be fulfilled and be happy. You can have that, regardless. And again, it's about what's right for you, right?
That's right. And I think first of all, I don't know if you know this, but my husband, I'm saying had, not because they're dead, but because they divorced us and threw us out years ago, 2 daughters. And those 2 daughters have absolutely nothing to do with him. And so many of the friends that I have now have children who have no connection to them at all, not because they moved away, because they disconnected from their hearts, which happens. It's if you go on I think it's a strangeparents.com or strangefamilies.com, absolutely thousands of people saying, I'm not connected anymore. To my family, to my child, to many people. So it's something to think about.
Oh, I think that's the thing that people need to understand, that having a child isn't going to solve all the problems that you've got with your partner. It's not going to, guarantee certain things in life, and every relationship is different. Have you seen differences in the way that men and women are handling the decision to be child free? I think women obviously are typical, like emotional. We've got, we only have a certain amount of time to be able to do this if we want to do this, which is a bit different to men. Are you finding that in your world that the conversations may be a little bit different, or where do you see the difference between men and women when it comes to making a choice to be child free?
I think for the women, as that so-called biological clock and the pronatalistic pressure starts to come in, it can be, for some, frightening, because let's face it, there is a limit. The eggs get old. Yeah. I admit in my book, that when menopause hit me, I had a moment where I went, wow. But it wasn't so much that I couldn't have children anymore. It was the choice was taken away from me, because no longer could I even fathom it. Although, believe me, I didn't fathom it at all. It was just like, I didn't have the choice anymore. I didn't have that freedom.
Control. You lost that control. Yeah.
With men, I'm finding now on my sites a growing number of men, much more vocal, much more adamant, much more angry when people say things to them like, what's the matter? You shooting blanks? You know, that kind of thing. I've heard that.
Oh my God.
And the military, what they go through if they don't have a child, it's just, in America, it's un-American. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, there's so much pressure, isn't there? Because that's what you're expected to do.
Right. But, you know, on this next, you know, that I do these little groups that go on these cruises, we do have a man speaking for the first time. And I have had such a good response to the fact that Lucas is going to be a speaker from his heart, from the heart of a man. It's not just women anymore. It's predominantly women. Okay, I admit it. But boy, more and more men are stepping up.
Yeah, I know some men who are like, no, I don't want kids. Like, and I think, that's where the whole, well, how do I find, you know, the women that don't want kids? And there's a whole, you know, conversation there around dating and so forth. But you just mentioned your cruise before. So I know you do quite a lot of child-free events and so forth. Tell me more about the cruise, why you're doing it, and how that's all.
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. No, it's not to make money. The amount of money I make on this cruise, I'd make more at McDonald's saying, do you want that supersized? When you see the amount of time and energy that goes into this, because this is just not
a huge amount of time. That logistically, these people that have never done it don't understand it. Yeah.
But I love it. And when Jim and I traveled, we got annoyed because eventually it would always come with, and how many children do you have? And you want to see the pictures, the video. So I suddenly said, you know what if we just got a group together? And then I said, if I were to become an agent, it would even be better because we like to cruise. And I knew that I would find more things that I could do for that group. So the first group was years ago, and it was, I think there were 14 of us. And the second group was 39 of us. Yeah. And right now, we're closing in on 30, and I only just started it. We have a year to go. Yeah. But the joy of it is the first time we get together, and not one person will say, so how many kids do you have? Because they'll be killed if they say that. They'll be just annihilated. One trip, one woman said that as a joke, and we just howled. I mean, all of us, the tears, because it was so refreshing to laugh at something like that. Yeah. So when you travel with people that know how you feel, it's a joy. It's truly a joy. And then cruising is the way to go. I mean, you could be with people or you don't have to be with people. You can dine with us. You don't have to dine with us. Yeah. You could sit with us during theater. You don't have to, you can go to the spa if you want. But there is a joy and a magical feeling of being with like-minded people. This cruise, I also had, wait, drum roll. That was my drum roll. My drum teacher would love that. No, he wouldn't. This particular cruise, I have friends of child-free people who are parents who support and love their child-free friends. And mothers and grandmothers coming to support a child-free woman. Oh, that's unheard of. Yeah. I mean, I think that is beautiful.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I'm excited, that they're coming. And they're paying the same money, and they're in the same group. And they said, we want to show that there is hope, that you can still have the joy of your relationships. And I'm in two documentaries. One is To Kid or Not to Kid by Maxine Trump, No Relationship. Yeah.
I've been waiting for when that is going to finally be shown down here. But yeah,
oh my God. When I saw myself on that screen, it was like, oh my God, I'm on a movie.
I think you're at the premiere in New York, right? Because I remember seeing some stuff on Instagram or something. Yeah.
It was beyond belief. And they called me up on the stage. But now what was I saying? See, now you can see that I'm getting older. Something about the movie, something about child-free, and now it's gone. It'll come back.
Yeah, you said you're in two documentaries. So To Be or Not to Be. Sorry, To Kid or Not to Kid. And the other one's not Teresa's, is it?
My so-called selfish life.
Yeah.
My so-called selfish life. Oh, yeah, I got it. So in the first one, my best friend Jane, we've been together for 45 years. She interviewed us because Maxine's best friend left her when she said something probably inappropriate about, she thought it was bad if you had large families, and this friend had hoped to have a large family. So she walked away and never came back. So when she heard that I was with my best friend, and then she was able to film both of us, and we both looked at her and said, maybe she wasn't a best friend, because friendship, real friendship is unconditional. Yeah. And I've watched her, with the two sons, and I've agonized with her over the issues that she's had, and laughed and was delighted with her over some of the joy. Yeah. So, the fact that the parents are coming to support their children and the grandparents and the friends, I see that as something positive.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think I've got friends that are child-free, and I've got lots of friends, probably more friends that do have children. One of my best friends has 4 children. And I love them to death. I love her to death. And we've always been about, hey, you do what's right for you. I remember when she told me she was having a 4th, I went, honey, I love you, but you're effing crazy. And we had a laugh about it. She knew I was coming from a place of love, and I'm like, honey, whatever. I said, whatever makes you happy, that's all I care about. I said, oh, God, I would never do it. But we don't, it's not a judgment thing with either of us. We're both like, no, honey, and that's what true friendship is. I agree. It's supporting each other's decisions.
I think it can be difficult if somebody is really into the population explosion, and they, they're with a friend who just has more than a lot of children. Let's just say it could be challenging, I think. Yeah. And that's what life is. It's challenging. People come in and out of your life all the time. You have to make the choices that are right for you.
Exactly.
In that
moment. So I'm conscious of time as well, but I've loved it. I mean, I could talk about this stuff with you all day.
What kind of a boo-boo do you have there? I see a boo-boo on your hand.
Oh, so I've got an inflamed wrist. I don't know. I just only found out this morning. I had to go and have ultrasounds and so forth. I thought it might have been fractured, but yeah, it'll heal over time. It's just more of a pain in the butt more than anything.
No, pain on the hand.
And it's my right hand, and I'm right-handed, which is not fun.
Okay, I'm sorry. So go ahead, ask your question. I know.
So I suppose to finish up, because I could literally just talk for hours. What advice would you give to women who are probably going through this now, where they're going, oh, I'm not really sure if I want kids. Is that life for me? I'm really undecided about this whole thing. Like, what would you say to them? Read the book.
Read this book.
Yep.
I think this will show you why you have those feelings, because it's in advertising, it's in songs, everywhere. It's in the media, it's in art, it's everywhere. And it's tough to overcome this, really tough. And then keep your eyes open, like I said. Spend quality time in the lifestyle. And that's not, like I said, babysitting. That's spending time. Keep your eyes open. Observe. Not just the beauty, which there is, but the difficulties. Sometimes I hear people say, well, get a dog. And I'm against that, because so many times people get a dog and they see the challenges and the responsibility of this little dog, and then they decide, no, I'm going to have a child now. And then they give up the dog. So be aware of 24 hours a day, and it's not just till the age of 18. Most kids now live forever with their parents.
I know people in their 20s that are still at home. It's just like, enough already.
My mother agonized after the first divorce, and then the second divorce, and then she finally got to meet, my husband now before she died, which I'm very grateful for. But there was agony in her life over that. So it's not the myth and the fluff, which there can be. It's the lifestyle. Are you really committed to that lifestyle?
Yeah, it's a big deal, isn't it? Yeah.
Look at yourself. Am I parent material?
Yeah.
Am I parent material? Now, people have said, oh, Marsha, of course you're parent material. Look at you as a teacher. Look what you've done. Of course you'd be a wonderful mother. No. Teaching is not the same as being able to come home, shut the door, have a glass of wine, do what I want to do. Yeah. It's not the same. So you
totally
have to
different.
be
Yeah.
honest. And it's hard.
Yeah, and it's obviously it's a big decision that many women are now having to face. So it's, you know, it is, there's so much conversation to be had around this topic. I think there's still, we've come a long way. I think there's still so much more to go, because we've got to stop that judgment and that criticism, and just, I mean, and there obviously is cultural issues behind that. There's, you know, the pronatalist views. There's a whole bunch of stuff that sits behind it that impacts those opinions and those conversations. And I think now is the time to really, you know, I think the more people that are out there having these discussions and opening them up and showing what life looks like on either side, I think that can only benefit other women.
Honestly.
And, you know, I mean, I love it when I get someone that says, oh my God, I've read your book and I've got clarity around this, or I'm not alone anymore. And I just go, oh, like that just, and I said to my husband, that's why I did this. Because I know there's someone's heart, you know, life.
I cry. I have actually cried so many times from joy that somebody's life was affected by what we had the courage to write. I'm hoping someday we don't have the need for any of these books.
Yeah.
You know, but right now we do. And I don't see your book as being anything less than my book, or Dr. Amy Blackstone just came out with another book. I don't see it that way. I see it as the more, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Validate.
A lot of them are all different conversations. They're bringing up different things. Like, it's not like they're all the same books. They're all very, very different books, and they're all coming from different angles. And so exactly, I think that I'm like, and that's why I want to have a resource area as well. So I'm definitely going to include your books and what you're doing in that as well, because I think they're more great resources that people can go to and read and get different points of views and see different insights than what I can share as well. And I think that's
so adorable.
Really important.
I want to go and hug you.
I'll give you a virtual hug. There you go.
There is one little fly in this ointment. In the last few years, I've noticed, just like a religion or in politics, you have, I'll call it the conservative, the liberal, and the orthodox. Or is it the liberal, conservative, and, well, you get what I mean.
Yeah. The
left and the right, okay, in anything. The same thing happens within our movement. And instead of bringing us together, it's divisive. I don't, on my sites, I don't love words that to me are upsetting words like breeders, crotch dropping, and even worse. Although I certainly allow them, because it's a venting and it's a catharsis for some of our, you know, rage that some of us feel. And that usually are from the people who are just starting out on this. They're very angry and
you know, and I've noticed that as well. I'm in a few child-free groups on Facebook, and the way that they speak sometimes about parents and children, I just go, you know what, that does not sit well with me. I'm not anti-kids. I'm just anti-kids for me, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to speak disrespectfully and go, oh my God, you're stupid because you want kids and stuff, because I don't believe that, and I don't think there's a need for that, because if we want people to accept our choices, you have to accept choices on the other side. You can't have it both ways. You know, I think there needs to be respect.
I mean, there have been haters towards me, people on Facebook who have said, she's not child-free. She once was a stepmother. Therefore, she can never claim to be child-free. I consider that the orthodox. And, you know, and look, they have a right to their feelings and they're all together. But when you come out and you're shunning me and yelling at me for once being, well, and by the way, I failed. It was awful. And I have a whole chapter about that, because it was not easy to be that stepmother, who at best is a friend, but not a mother. Now, there are some women who take on the role 24/7. Maybe that's different. But they were also against one of my beautiful women who had, she found out she was pregnant very late in the pregnancy. It was too late to abort. So she gave birth and found an adoptive family. She was shunned from my site, from that hater group, saying she can no longer say she's child-free. Say what? Say what? This woman gave up a child because she knew it would have a better life.
Yeah. Again, judgment, criticism where there shouldn't be.
She carried a baby, therefore she's not child-free. I mean, they go so far as to say, you know, if you're a teacher, you're not child-free. If you have pets, you're not child-free.
Oh
If
my
you
God, that's
ignore
ridiculous.
your neighbor's child, you're not child free. I mean, it gets to the point where stop the insanity. You're dividing us. You're not bringing us together.
Yeah, and
This is
stop with the labels that are unnecessary as well. Like it's just ridiculous.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree. But it hurts, again, that feeling of, what? Me? I'm a fake, I'm a sham, I'm a phony.
And it says more about them more than anything. So I just, with that sort of stuff, when you get those haters and people say, I'm just like, you know what, that's on you. You take, you want to take that on board and be like that, then that's your problem. I don't need to be around that negativity or take your crap on board, because I know who I am and I'm happy, and it just, there's no need for some of those conversations. They're just ridiculous. And it's, and I agree with what you're saying though. It's people like that aren't actually helping the cause. They're actually hindering it. And it's
fighting us.
Yeah.
And
Thank
that's,
you.
It's the way it is. It's the way in politics, it's the way in religion, and it's the way in the child-free movement. But you and me will keep on going, knowing that you're there, knowing that this beautiful young woman is there gives me like, whoa, because I need more people like you. I want to know that this torch will go on and you won't stop. And I don't think you're going to stop.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty passionate about this whole thing, and since I've written the book, it's just taken on a whole level. It's gone to a whole other level, and I think this conversation is so needed. And I look to people like you who have blazed that trail and have done so much, and it would be an honour for me to be able to continue the work you've already started. So thank you for the conversation.
Oh, thank you. It's a mutual.
It's just been fabulous to have this conversation, and I'd love to definitely talk again, because I think there's so many other areas that we can talk about.
There sure is.
To this.
Wait till the second book comes out, because that's a whole other topic.
Okay, well, we'll make it about the second book, and we'll dive deep into that.
I would love to. You take care and keep going what you're doing.
Thank you. I will, and I'll share this with you once I've got it all up and running and everything, so you've got the link. But
I'll put it on all my sites.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
Well, you didn't mention your book. Mention your book.
My book is a Childfree Happily Ever After. So it's all about why more women are choosing not to have children. I share lots of stories from women who are child-free by choice, child-free by circumstance, who are mums and happy mums, and mums who have regretted it. So I've tried to get the whole full circle of what it looks like in there, and there's lots of little stories in there, and the feedback's been phenomenal. So it was a #1 bestseller on Amazon when we launched it. So there's certainly something there.
Jealous.
Your next one will be. There you go.
Good for you, sweetie. I'm so happy you're here. I'm glad your mother and father did it. Oh, God, did I say that?
No, you didn't.
Well, you know what? When people say that, I say, seriously, really seriously. I mean, where would you be if your parents, stop it.
I love you. You're amazing. That's fabulous. Thank you, Marsha. You have an absolutely fabulous evening. I know it's evening there for you, and let's talk again.
It is. You too, love. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.